One of the biggest mistakes I see is people making too many different products with too many different styles. And if you're hardly making any sales with your handmade products yet, and you're struggling to stand out because there's just so much competition, keep watching this video. I am going to have some answers for you. May here, I help makers, artists, and designers make a consistent income selling their handmade products online. This video is going to have two parts. The first is I'll talk about some strategies you can take for how to stand out if you're still new and in that product creation or design stage. Like if you're a new shop and you're still figuring out what products to make and sell. Then the second part, I'll talk about if you're a more established shop and you have already got some products, I'm going to give you some ideas for how to stand out without changing or redoing too much of your business. So I get it. I used to be just like that. I used to sell a lot of different types of things. I used to sell hand-bound journals and beaded jewelry, and when I sold polymer clay jewelry, it wasn't all food like it is today. I made flowers and animals. I remember I had a cow and some stars. And anyway, I was all over the place. This is what I call a garage sale shop. And let me explain to you why this is a problem. But first, we have to understand how online shopping works these days. There are more and more people shopping online every year, which is great. But they have now so many choices. They have too many choices. And they aren't just going to buy the first pair of earrings that they see. They're going to shop around first. That's why most people who visit your online shop aren't going to buy. They want to do research, or they're getting distracted, or maybe they're just not ready to buy yet at that exact point in time. These days, when it comes to online shopping, you need to make multiple points of contact between your customer and your brand. It's just like dating. Don't expect anyone to get married on the first date. Don't expect the sale to happen the first time a potential customer comes to your website. That means after someone sees your product for the first time, they aren't going to buy it, right? But instead, maybe a few days go by and they see one of your Instagram posts. A few more days go by, they see your Facebook post. A week later, they get an email from you. And then a month later, they get another email from you with a coupon code, and then they finally decide to buy. The time it takes for people to buy from you is now more drawn out. It takes longer for that sale to happen. Because of that, it is very important now more than ever to be memorable, to stay front of mind to your potential customer. Make it easy for them to remember you. I mean, that's partly why you want to show up everywhere for them and why you need to have so many points of contact for them. So let me ask you this. Is it easier to remember one thing or 10 things? Like, imagine if you have to go to the grocery store and you have 1 or 10 things to buy. If you make jewelry and art and bags and phone cases and dresses and clocks and they're all in different styles, do you think that's going to be easy or hard for your potential customer to remember? Too many options is overwhelming. So keep your product line simple. Keep it cohesive and focused, at least in the beginning. I teach how to use an MVP, a minimum viable product line, which is a collection of around 12 to 20 different products that all have at least one common theme that ties them all together. The exact number of how many products you should make is totally up to you. The point is, you don't have to have that many products to start making good sales. And contrary to popular belief, the only way to stand out in a saturated market is by focusing in on being known for one thing and one thing only. I mean, think about brands like Oreo or Spandex or Apple. They're not trying to sell 50 totally different products, but they're all known for one thing. And that common theme that ties their products together can be anything, from style to color, to the material, to just the type of product that you make. As long as they all have at least one thing in common with each other, you will automatically create that sense of cohesiveness, and your brand and your products will be very clear to your customer, which in turn makes it easier for them to remember you. So this is my first tip for you if you're a new business owner. Keep your product line simple and really focus in on being known for that one thing. My second tip is when you're creating your products and thinking about who you're going to sell to, consider layering markets. Here's an example. Say you make candles. I know there's a whole lot of competition for candles and it's so easy to blend in and not stand out, right? So you're in the market of candles and your customers are probably people who like spending money on home decor, who spend time thinking about their home and making their home look pretty. So what if you narrowed down a little bit more and layered on a new market or a new niche on top of that? So say you make candles for goths. Now, not only are you super clear and specific and memorable, but you instantly stand out. And you can get really creative and have a lot of fun creating products for candles for goths. I know it feels counterintuitive, but the way to stand out is to narrow down your market even further than what you've already got. Like, do you know how many people out there are teaching other people how to start businesses like what I'm doing here? But the difference is I'm not helping just anyone who wants to start a business. I'm helping people who are in the handmade space. My next tip for you is to think about how you might be able to make improvements on the type of product you make. So I'll give you a few examples. I carry a shoulder handbag, right, with me everywhere I go. My issue is it's hard for me to find handbags that don't fall off my shoulder. It's something about the strap. I don't really know. I usually have the strap on just one shoulder because if I put it across my chest, it's going to feel a little bit heavier. So if I were a handbag maker, I might think of some ways to get the strap to never fall off. And that would be my thing. You know, that's the thing that I will focus on being known for. This stuff takes time to do, so don't rush it. And if you're having trouble thinking about solving specific problems with your type of product, then just think about how you can make it different. Do some market research, see what's out there, and make yours just slightly different. It doesn't have to be an improvement per se, just different. So say you make personalized family portraits, but you see that everyone or most people are selling them on a white plain background, and it just doesn't look very fun. So maybe you'll make family portraits different by giving all of your portraits a fun pop of color as the background. You're not reinventing the wheel here. You're just thinking a little bit outside the box and offering a slightly different product to what's already out there. Now, let's move on to if you've already got an established product line and shop. Maybe you've already got a product line and it's just too much work to redo all of that with my previous tips. If you're worried about how to stand out from the competition, we're going to move into a different category of your business that I like to call positioning. Positioning is how you position your products. You can think of it like branding, but I like to think that branding is actually a part of the bigger umbrella category of position. So positioning is how you'll attract your ideal customers to your shop. People who are happy to pay your higher prices, who love your work and tell all their friends about you. This is how you make sales with ease versus feeling like you're just always swimming against the current all the time. Your product positioning determines the type of customers you attract, and it can help you blend in or stand out depending on what you decide your positioning is. One way to position your product is with price. If you charge very low, you are inevitably going to attract people who don't have a lot of money. And if you raise those prices, then those people will say that they can't afford it, even though it's not a lot of money. And more than that, your low prices will turn off potential buyers who can pay more because they're going to automatically assume a lower price means a lower quality product, which, you know, logically, that's not necessarily always true. But this is human psychology, and it's a lifetime of years of learning where low price equals low quality. So even with my jewelry, I stand out in this way because I'm the most expensive scented food jewelry shop out there. Most other shops like mine on Etsy, or if you just Google for them, they're going to be in the $10 up to maximum $20 price points. I'm selling my jewelry for $20 to $30. So for any of my customers who've done research, when they see my stuff, they're going to feel a little bit of that pinch where they're like, whoa, this is a little bit more expensive than what I've seen. You want people to have those thoughts and feelings. And part of why I think most makers don't stand out is because when people look at your stuff, they don't think or feel anything. You want to be polarizing. My jewelry isn't meant for everyone, and it's not meant for people who only want to spend $5 buying their kid a necklace that will break in 2 days and it's made in China, right? And I know it's scary to be the most expensive option out there and for people to think you're expensive. But I still have people buy from me, and they buy from me because, and they've said this themselves, they know I have the best designs, the most realistic charms, and the best service. People know that you get what you pay for, and when you pay a higher price, you're generally going to get a better experience overall. You can position your products based on your visual brand. Visual brand is with stuff like your logo, your website colors, your photos, your packaging, anything that's visual, you can brand that to give people one type of experience or another. So for example, with my brand Tiny Hands, I'm going the route of cute and whimsical, but in an upscale, exclusive way. I'm not using super bright neon fluorescent colors on my website. I use fonts that are classic and easy to read without it being too cutesy. But in my earlier days of Tiny Hands, I had so many people complain my prices were too high. But back in the day, my brand was bright colors. My logo was a hand-drawn cupcake illustration that looked super cute, but kind of in a homemade, homey way. And it was endearing, but it didn't exactly make you feel like it was professional. And my packaging was also pretty cheap looking. So then I rebranded and upgraded my packaging, and immediately all those people who were complaining about price went away. You can instantly make yourself stand out from your competition by giving your shop a totally different visual brand from the rest of them. Even your customer service and your product descriptions, the written words that you use in your business, the way you interact with your customers or audience on social media or over email can be different than what your customers are used to with your competitors. So with Tiny Hands, I use a lot of emojis and exclamation points, and another brand might be totally against that. This might be more subtle and harder to notice from the get-go, but over time, people will get it and you will see a difference. Think about brands like Cards Against Humanity. They're a card game, and you know how many card games there are out there. How do they make it that people are choosing to buy and play their game over all the other games? Their branding and voice is so wildly opposite and different from everything else that's out there. That's how they do it. You could sell a totally similar product as the next shop out there, but you can make yourself different and stand out by making your brand different and position your shop at a totally different level. I see a lot of makers worry that their products are not unique enough, or that they're making a product that has a lot of competition like jewelry or t-shirts. First and foremost, competition is actually amazing. That means that there are people who want to buy what you have to sell. It's actually a lot harder if you don't even know if there's a market for your work. This is what I had to struggle with when I first started out selling scented food jewelry at Tiny Hands. No one knew this concept existed, so they weren't even searching for it. All of the people who are successful from learning my system in my course, they all sell products that are actually super competitive, like t-shirts, tea, crayons, gifts, jewelry. You don't need to have a unique product, and competition is a good thing. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to also stay on and watch the next video that you see on the screen here. And if you have any questions for me, drop me a comment below and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching.